Okay, so I'm going to teach Beth how to make fry bread. My great-grandmother used to make fry bread when we were little, and I just had a weird trigger memory of being little and her fixing fry bread for like breakfast. But she would also use the same recipe without leavening it and make fried pies or empanadas. And it's just something that her great-grandmother taught, and she was First Nation. Anyway, what we're going to do is, I don't measure so much, but we're going to use, I'm going to use self-rising flour instead of plain flour. And it's just one of those things, you just measure it out. I usually make 4 cups of flour. And then, like every good thing on the earth, you salt it. I need a little bit more salt, but the salt is not given today. You mix the dry ingredients together, and then make sure you make a mess. So if you're not making a mess, are you really cooking?
Nope.
And I like to add just a little bit of oil to it. And you don't have to add oil. Most fry bread you can do with like 3 ingredients, or 2 if you use self-rising flour. But I like to put a little bit of oil in it. And then with the just the flour and the oil and salt, pour in some cold water to the well, and just mix it together, kind of slow.
I thought my grandmother made dumplings.
With cold water? Well, it's probably because she had a First Nation in her family. You know, do you know where the fry bread originated from? When they moved the First Nation to the Trail of Tears, the U.S. government didn't give but like flour, salt, and some lard for them to travel with, and they had to make the best do with what they could do, and that's why fry bread is generally a First Nation food. And I say First Nation because I don't like to use the other words. Sometimes I put garlic in mine, so it gives it like a garlic flavor. And once you get it wet, if it's too wet, just add a little bit more flour until you can make it into a soft ball. It's got a good, so it's not too sticky. And then you just kind of flour your surface. My friend's gonna kill me because I'm doing it on her beautiful butcher block. You just kind of turn it out, and you need to knead it for 3 or 4 minutes just to make sure that it's all smooth. And make sure if you're going to knead it to take off any jewelry that you got on. That way you don't get sticky in your rings or in your bracelets or whatever. But you just knead it in, and until it's a nice consistency. Though they want you to do it 3 or 4 minutes, otherwise it's still going to be sticky on the middle. And there's nothing worse than your dough sticking to your surface. Do you have a rolling pin?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to have a rolling pin. I don't know where she's hiding this flour, because I still don't need that. Still gotta have this flour to keep it from being sticky. So just roll it and roll it and roll it. See how it's still sticky in the middle? You ever kneaded dough? I'm sure you noted at work you kneaded too much, right? But then I'm just going to break it off. A lot of people have a fancy cutting tool or whatever. Just break it off into little balls. And roll it up, put it back in your pot over here. You want to flour your hands and start rolling some little balls. They don't have to be really big. A little bit bigger than than you would do for tortillas. So that's still a little sticky. And open that flour back up. Because my hands are not going to make it. But yeah. We're going to use this raw bread to make another tacos.
Would you be quiet all of a sudden?
Because I don't know what else to say. What are you supposed to say where you're over here rolling dough balls? I mean, because this takes time. It's not a very interesting thing to watch. Just, it's not really an interesting thing to watch. Just rolling out balls. You know. You just do it and you do it and you do it some more. At my house, I don't use my friend's beautiful butcher block that her husband made, top quality, beautiful butcher block. She's gonna be so mad. But at my house, I have a mat. I use a rolling mat or even a placemat works. My really good rolling mat burned, and it's too expensive to try to buy another Tupperware rolling mat just for like biscuits or whatever. I mean, you can get one at the Dollar Tree for $1. Okay, then next we take this flour and we put some more flour on my friend's beautiful cutting butcher block cutting board island, and we need to have the grease turned on to be getting warm. Let's see how well we can get this to turn out. Because I make tortillas more than I make anything else. I have a tendency to do my hands more than I do the rolling pin. Because I do make tortillas more than I do this. You just kind of try to roll it out in a circle. Some people cheat and they use a plate to put on top of it and cut it out. I'm not too big on cheating. I don't care if mine are round or not. So they're just like paper thin, almost like pizza dough, but not quite. If you want to take that ring off before you get your hands in this dough, you really don't want it in there. You really don't want it in your rings. Go ahead and do you one. But I really do have a tendency to do it like a tortilla instead of with the rolling mat. It's hard to make them round.
You got a square one.
I got a square one, so what? It's square, it still eats like a tortilla, it still eats right. Don't you know the first one never turns out right anyway? It's like a pancake, you have to eat it as an experiment. Man. Language. It's fine.
Okay.
It'll eat the same. It'll be fine. Whenever the oil gets heated up, it'll be fine.
I don't need something to put it on.
Huh? So you mean you need something to put it on?
What? When they come out the grease.
Oh, well, go do that while I roll them out. Your kitchen, you know where your stuff's at.
Always sometimes.
Amanda's kitchen, really. Amanda's kitchen, Amanda's butcher block. Amanda's in Georgia. So she won't know about this until we put it on the YouTube. See, this one's more round than the other one. The wet spot on the countertop. Nobody needs a wet spot because that wet spot makes something stick. Dry that wet spot up with a little flour. Vince over there doing the, how warm is that grease? Is it ready yet?
No.
Now, and you can cook with, you can fry them in regular vegetable oil, Crisco, lard. I really prefer to fry in the mantequilla, some fresh pork lard. It's delicious. But I love, you know, I'm a fat southern girl, so of course I like to cook with fresh pork lard. Ugh, it's getting dry. See how it got dry? A little bit more. You know, roll yours. Make sure you didn't get it at a dry spot. It'll be sticking, just like mine was. I'm gonna step over here and check that oil just to see. You always use this off?
No, we usually use the big one.
I was wondering what was going on.
It had a hole in it.
Did it get, was it a hole in it because it was too, did it get dry? She's gonna freak out when she sees how dirty her countertop is. It's amazing what soap and water does though. Isn't it? And I know
I
you
gotta
may,
clean it. She
Yeah,
comes
it'll
home
be-
tomorrow.
it'll be clean. It won't be bad, surely. The oil gets hot and we'll be ready to go. We've already cooked the ground beef that's gonna go in it. You gotta get it. It's like that's the trick, is keeping everything good and dry, even though it makes a beautiful mess. Always better to have a beautiful mess with food than not have a mess at all. We're not like cooking show professionals either. We are trial and error, make a mess and try to figure it out. But, you know, I'm not going to live forever. I don't intend to live forever. So I got to tell somebody something while I still can, and she listens most of the time. I feel
When I
like,
don't, I call and I'm like, what do I do?
so I done messed it up. But if you don't, and this is like the best way. I'm not YouTube famous or anything like that, and not looking for a following. Not really, just looking to pass on some knowledge. We were to do this with the arepas or the gorditas, instead of just like, or do it with tamales. That's a long video. We do it with tamales. Like for real, a long video. Just gonna run over your fingers with this thing. It's gonna be great. See, it's getting dry. I hate it. Reach over, Beth, and put some more. You know, I have a comment about baby powder, but I'm not going to use it right now. Kevin, you know what I'm talking about. Always good to have baby powder in the summertime. So you're not left all sticky and stuck together. It made a heart. I didn't mean to. You did, it made a heart. I feel like it's taking forever for the oil to heat up.
It's probably because it's more oil.
Oh yeah. We're just using good old fashioned store brand generic food value oil.
Because we're poor.
Because we're poor. We're fine, but we're poor. And in these days, if you're not poor, are you even living?
Yeah, are you alive?
Are you alive if you're not poor? If you're not poor, you're not making fry bread, that's a promise. We were recently out west and we ate this. Malco tacos. But was his name?
Chi.
It was, yeah, the chief. But,
Yellow Horse.
Yellow Horse, yeah. Chief Yellow Horse's niece. Or sister. And the Chi. And, it was the best Navajo taco. It was right inside Arizona.
New Mexico.
On the New Mexico line. He's got a really nice setup there, and you can actually. He's got a cave that's still got the tribe's cave art and all kinds of stuff right outside the petrified forest, and it was really dry right here too, just like over there in Arizona, really dry. But it was it was nice to see, because he had some metal dinosaurs, and got a really cool sign out front that made you want to stop. And it said, "Make Chief great again." I agree with that, making Chief great again, instead of, the alternative. As we live in the Roll Tide, can't help ourselves. You're magic over there. Look at this big magic
I was
one.
being Emerald.
Being Emerald.
That's what I grew up watching.
I grew up watching my great grandmother in the kitchen, not letting us touch nothing. This is oil's just about. I think it's trying so hard. By the time the oil gets hot, we'll have them all rolled out, stacked up here on top of each other. Now, if you want to use all-purpose flour, you have to use some baking powder, because if you don't have the baking powder in it, it's not going to rise. It's going to stay flat like a hard biscuit.
I hope my mama didn't lie and this is for real self-rising.
Oh my God! If she lied and said this, then I won't regret messing her dang top up for sure. Amanda, this better be self-rising flour. What's on that bag? Does it say self-rising?
Yeah.
Well, it better be self-rising. If not, we're going to have some flat bread and it's going to be all for naught. You'll break your teeth off on it. Be like one of them church biscuits when you're trying to eat Jesus. You know, the communion biscuits. Unleavened bread. Like the Jews in the desert. Well, that's what it is. The Jews in the desert ate unleavened bread. It's pita bread.
Hey, don't knock on it. I like pita bread.
Well, we ain't making pita bread. We making fry bread. I want it to rise and be delicious. Don't you want it to rise and be delicious? Look at there. We've made a huge mess, Amanda. Hope you enjoy. It's not going to be as funny as your guy with the fence, though, in Riviera, Alabama.
Not Alabama, ma'am. That was Texas.
Oh, yeah, Texas. Whoops. Texas, Alabama, really the same thing, essentially.
Just not as
Say it ain't the same thing, essentially.
just not as big.
Look at this mess. It's going to be so good. You want this one more again?
No. I like it better this way.
With your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So, come on. Let's see if, I'll try to ease this into this grease, hoping it's hot enough. Look how pretty. Now it has to cook on both sides till it's brown. My favorite color. Do you have tongs? Or do we have hopes and dreams?
We got little or big?
I want the kind that's not gonna melt in the
Oh,
grease.
neither one of them melt.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Then this will be fine. You just gotta cook them on both sides until they're golden brown. Just let it fry. This is like, you would think that rolling it out and getting it all done like this is the most time consuming part, but it's not. Browning them up to make sure they're done is pretty time consuming. This is what 4 cups of flour makes. Well, probably more than 4 cups. A little bit more. At least she's going to have some left, and we didn't use all of her self-rising flour. Just need it to be brown. And these will keep, if you put them in a Ziploc bag or an airtight container, they'll keep for about a week. And if you like want to freeze them, you can actually keep them, like lay them out flat, like in the freezer, like on a sheet, and freeze them individually, and then put them in a Ziploc bag, and they'll keep a couple of months. And all you have to do is heat them up to eat them. You know, kind of like a frozen biscuit. But they're not rising too much. I hope. I hope this really is self-rising flour. If not, we're gonna have flat bread. Look at that. Pretty.
Do we roll them out too thin?
No, I didn't roll them out too thin because the heat should cause them to rise. They're not, it's not bad. We don't want them too thick. They're not cookies or cake. The thing about self-rising flour is that it's usually heat activated, and the baking powder that's in it that causes it to be self-rising, over time deactivates. That's why your self-rising flour has an expiration date on it sooner than all-purpose flour. As you can tell, this is the favorite pan for frying, deep frying everything.
Yep.
How many did we end up with? We might want to turn the fan on low.
8,
Maybe it's not.
10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Not 10, maybe 20.
Yeah, maybe the fan's not going to be too loud. We could have made them bigger, but try not to make them too big because you really want them to be small enough to fit in whichever pan you're using to fry in. Look at there, look at that. It's going to be so yummy. And I'm not like afraid of the oil like most people. A lot of people are just terrified to stick their hand in it. But once you've been cooking all your life, you're not afraid of the oil anymore. It's moving right along. You can take, if you take the same concept of the self-rising flour and warm milk instead of cold water, and add a little extra baking powder to it to make it more fluffy, you get sopapillas because it's more of a bready texture. But there's just not much to it, not really, to making the fry bread. And now if Beth ever forgets and I'm good and dead and gone, like totally my plan, whatever, to not live forever, Beth can always go back and look at this horrible rendition of fry bread on YouTube. So that's it. First Nation fry bread, like my great grandmother Eva used to do it. Just that easy. Hope my voice wasn't too annoying.